Vaigurji ka khalsa, Vaigurji ki fateh. Welcome back to Kerry's Kitchen. Thank you very much for your feedback, your responses to the show. I'm so pleased that you're watching, you're enjoying my cooking, you're enjoying the meals that I'm making. And today I'm going to do roasted parsnips with goat's cheese and a sprinkle of pomegranates for our starter. And for our main, I'm going to do eggless Spanish omelette, which is another one of my favorites. And for our dessert this week, we had an email from our Benji Srinder Kaur in Birmingham. I want to say thank you very much for contacting the Zeek channel. And I am going to make your semia today, but I'm going to be making it the way I've been shown as a young girl. And I will put a twist on it for you, and I hope you will enjoy them. Okay, let's get started. What we're going to use is our parsnips. These parsnips now are just skinned, washed, and just sort of sliced in chunks again. And I've roasted these already in butter with a little bit of a honey glaze. And this is what you get. They're just absolutely beautiful. Obviously the soft potatoey taste in the middle and a nice sweetness on the outside. Here we've got 4 ounces of goat's cheese. Again, you can get this from any supermarket, and it's a lovely cheese. It doesn't really have a taste. It's a very clean, nice white cheese, and it tastes absolutely. All we're going to do is just crumble this into our dish. And here we've got 1 pomegranate taken out of the skin and just in the bowl here. We don't need to do anything. This is obviously a nardana, as some of our brothers and sisters might know out there, which we use in a lot of our Asian dishes. These are our 3 ingredients, and let's go over to the pan. Right, let's get started. So again, just be aware when you're with the hot pans, get that heated. We're not going to put any oil or butter or anything in this because we've already coated our parsnips with a bit of oil and they're kind of toasted already. So we're just literally going to heat our pan up. I tend to use these non-stick padilla as well. It's just another quick little tip. They're very, very good. Nothing tends to sort of stick to the surfaces. Sometimes we can burn food in the sort of ordinary type of pans, but in these non-stick ones, they don't stick to the base. They can still burn, so just be careful when you're cooking, but I actually enjoy using these. Right, so our pan's ready, nice and warm, and we just put our parsnips in. And again, you're going to hear that sizzle. Right, pan's warm, parsnips are in. All we need to do is just slightly move them around. We don't need to do much to this because they are already prepared. But obviously if you were making them from scratch, you would need to leave them in here to soften. So to start off with, we're going to heat the pan up on a full heat. So you got your pan nice and hot. As soon as you put your parsnips in, reduce the heat to the lowest heat it will go. And then we just leave the parsnips toasting. We're going to keep them whole. We don't want to crush them. We don't want to break them. We just want to keep them so they're looking nice and complete. With these, you need to give it about 2 or 3 minutes because obviously mine are already cooked. But like I said before, if you're cooking them for the first time, you will need to give them a little bit longer. And it's lovely, the aroma, the honey. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding our goat's cheese. Now with the cheese, you just literally just break it and pop it in. A beautiful cheese this is again. You will find it's a bit crumbly, but that's to be expected with this type of cheese. So that all goes in. Again, be aware that you're on a low heat because we don't want to blast the heat on this, so just keep it at that low. Okay, some of the cheese you're going to find starts melting, but that's perfectly fine because as it melts, it sort of covers and coats some of the parsnips. But then we do want to leave some of it quite visible as we crumbled and put into our dish. Okay, and now what we're going to do is add our pomegranate seed. Very simple, very easy. This is just 2 minutes it takes to do. So we take our pomegranate. What we're going to do is get a spoon and we just sprinkle them onto the top. You can use as much or as little as you want of these. Some people don't really like pomegranates, but we do like them. And your dish should look like this. You don't need to mix the pomegranate seeds in. We wanted just a bit of vibrancy colours sitting on the top. So you should be looking like this when we're done. So it's just parsnips, goat's cheese and pomegranate. We're ready now with that, and we're going to go ahead and serve. Right, so we're just going to serve. Now, you can have this with a couple of slices of flatbread, which I'm going to have mine with. It's a lovely warm starter. You know, it's so delicious, and all the different flavours with the pomegranates. It really does give it a bit of a sweet and savoury taste to it. And you've got the lovely honey glazed parsnips, the lovely colours. Just got normal flatbread here you can get from pretty much most supermarkets, and we just serve that with 2 slices. You can have it as a sandwich, or you can just toast that bread and have it with toast. And there is your starter of pomegranate, goat's cheese and roasted parsnips. Enjoy. Let's get cooking our omelette. What we're going to do, because it's an eggless omelette, we're going to use griatti to bind our ingredients together. And just as before, as you probably saw in one of my cooking show, I like to sieve my griatti just to make sure if there's any. Sometimes in these bags and these packets they get a bit lumpy. So we just put about half a sieveful in that. That's all you need. You don't need any more than that. And we just, again, just sieve it all the way through. And we just get rid of any lumps that you might have in the gram flour. Again, you know, about two or 3 tablespoons. You know, with these, you don't really need to have exact measurements. Just go with the flow, just put in what you think. And, you know, sometimes it might get a bit spicy. Sometimes you might need to add a bit of spice. It doesn't make any difference. So what we're going to do to this, we're going to put a bit of salt and pepper in and some water just to make it ready for our omelette. So just normal pepper. So a bit of black pepper. This is just normal ground pepper that we use. And we're going to put a little bit of salt in. There you go. That's done. So we got our griatti in there, gram flour, 2 or 3 tablespoons with a bit of black pepper and salt. And we're going to add, well, I've got half a glass of water here. We're not going to use it all. We're just going to add, you'll know as you're putting your water in when it sort of reaches a consistency, because we just really want it sort of looking a little bit like the bogota mix that we make. So just add a bit more water. I'm using a fork. The reason why I'm using a fork, it's a lot easier than getting a spoon. And there you go. And it should look like that. Okay, and this will act as our egg. This will bind all our omelette ingredients together. Okay, it should look like this, slightly runny. This is going to act as our egg. We're going to bind all our Spanish omelette ingredients together with this. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start preparing our actual ingredients for the omelette. So what we'll do is we'll start off with a tomato. So there's your tomato. Going to get our onion. Just a little small onion. I'm going to say this omelette is for one person. Obviously you can make more, but we're going to just use one. So you get your onion, give it a peel, like again, take off the outer skin. That's fine, that looks fantastic. And we're just going to give it some nice thick cuts so we can still see. Again, I normally go slice across and 3 in the opposite direction. That's nice. It looks nice in the omelette. And again, it just keeps things a bit whole. We don't want anything mushed up. So we just put it straight into this one plate. I've also got 1 small potato that's skinned, and we just chop this. Again, straight down the middle. With the potato, we're going to give it slightly smaller cuts. Because we're going to fry it, we want it fried fairly quickly. The bigger, obviously, the chunks of your potato, the longer it will take to cook. So there's your potato there. There you go. Ingredients are ready. I'm going to also use, in my omelette, I'm going to use peas. And we're going to take just a few peas. These are washed. There you go. Those are your ingredients for your omelette. And now what we're going to do is go straight over to our pan and start frying and getting our omelette ready. Going to make our omelette. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a match into my omelette because I like mine a little bit spicy. So just 1 match is going to be enough because it's for 1 person. And I normally cut my match at an angle. And that will go in there. Right, again, get your pan ready. I'm going to go middle heat today because that is quite hot and it covers the whole base of my pan. I'm using a small pan only because I'm making omelette for 1 person. If you're making for 2 or more, you can use obviously a bigger pan. But it's got to be a frying pan, not the pan that we've been using for our other meals. So heat and low heat, and we're going to put some butter. Just going to use just enough butter to coat the bottom. I use a lot of guesswork. You just go in there and you think, well, I'm going to need this much butter. That's going to be enough for my dish. If you want to measure it, I would say that would probably be, I don't know, maybe 20, not even 20. I'd probably say about 5 or 10 grams, if that. Oh, that might sound like a lot, but when you think about what you're going to put in there and what you're going to use in it. So as it's melting away, we go ahead and add our ingredients. And you just push everything into your frying pan. And now we're going to give it a blast on a hot heat and mix everything up. We're not going to add salt because we already put salt into our a batter, which we're going to use for binding, so we don't need to be adding salt each time. So as you can see now, this is cooking. All the lovely colours, potatoes, tomatoes. Now this you will need to cook for at least, I would say, half an hour on a low heat to make sure our potatoes are nice and soft. The other thing, again, what I normally do is I have got my grill already on, warm, because we're going to grill the top of our omelette. So just give it a little bit of a shake so it just levels everything out. And we leave that to cook. So we leave that, turn it down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the pan so the heat will cook our potatoes. Put the lid on. I mean, this lid belongs to another saucepan, it doesn't matter. I've just popped that on there just to make sure everything cooks together. in one space. So obviously we want all this to soften. We want to see the different textures of the food when we're eating them. We don't want the potato broken down or the tomato mashed. We want to keep the vegetables whole. Right, we're going to leave that now for about 20-25 minutes. We're going to keep going back and checking and seeing how it looks. So it's looking good at the moment, and I'm going to go and get myself a cup of tea. See you in 25. Wow. So we come back, you're going to find that your potatoes are slightly stuck to the base, only slightly, so we just give it a little bit of a shake and loosen everything off. This is how it should be looking, and it smells outstanding. So everything's ready. With it being stuck to the base slightly, like I said, don't worry too much, because that's what gives it that sort of roasted taste to the potatoes and the onions. So that's ready. Now what we're going to do, we're going to add our griatti that we use, and this is going to bind our egg together, our omelette together even, shall I say. Right, so we just pour all the way around. The griatti goes in. There you go. That's in. And you may need to slightly lift the frying pan from the sides just to make sure it goes and sort of seals the omelette. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we've put the griatti mix in, and this is how it looks. It looks absolutely fantastic. What we do now is obviously we're going to cook the base of the omelette. We're just going to cook the base. A lot of people tend to start flipping the omelette over and cooking the other side. I don't do that. I just cook the base because the pan is already hot, seal the base from underneath, and then what I will do is take my omelette under my grill to start cooking from the top. That's what we're going to do. So that now, you'll find that it's not completely solid at the top. Don't worry about that, because that's going to be cooked under the grill. So now we're ready with that. We can go ahead and transfer. Now, my grill I've already had on for about 10 minutes, so it's nice and hot. And what you do, you just bring your tray up as close as you can to the top. So I normally go about there, as close as you can. Then I'll just take my pan and we'll just stick that under the grill. And we'll leave that there for a couple of minutes. Obviously, stay by your cooker, everything's hot, don't leave anything unattended. Never leave the door open and walk off and leave your saucepan in there, for all obvious reasons. Keep it safe. So we'll leave that in there. And what we'll do now is we're gonna get our omelette ready and put a bit of that grated cheese on. Looking lovely. Okay, and that is what your omelette should be looking like. Now remember, the griatti that we put in has put all the ingredients together. It's brought everything, and it's all nice and it's looking brilliant. So what we're going to do now, while it's still hot, we're going to add our cheddar cheese. Again, plenty of cheese, and this is the final bit to the omelette. We're just going to grill everything and it will be ready. So plenty of cheese, and then that goes back under the grill just until it's all golden brown. And your omelette is ready. So we switch everything off, make sure everything's nice and safe and everything is out of the way. Be careful with the handle because it can get quite hot. So at any point, again, I cannot stress to you safety all the time. So just a tea towel would be fine. And there is your omelette. Look at that. It looks absolutely delicious. Golden brown with the cheese grilled. There you go. Right, now that's ready, we're going to serve, and I cannot wait to tuck into this. Omelette is ready, and we're going to go ahead and serve. So what I normally do is I just cut all the way across, just with, you don't need a knife or anything, just go nice and easy, just be relaxed when you're cooking. Don't be rushing out to get fancy dishes and things like that. Just use what you've got in the house. We've got loads of ingredients lying around that we don't use. Just throw what you want. I mean, obviously I've put tomatoes, potatoes, peas in here. You can use almost anything. You can use gajra, you can use, different vegetables. You can put broccoli in there, whatever you want. It's your omelette. make it your own. I'm going to serve mine with potato wedges. Now I fried these earlier on just for speed. Obviously a few potato wedges with that. You can go for a salad if you want to. You can have a couple of pieces of bread, have it as a sandwich. And there is your omelette. Eggless omelette, absolutely delicious. And I'm going to go ahead and taste. Can't wait to tuck into this. It's absolutely delicious. Smells outstanding. So I've gone for a little edge with a bit of everything in there. That is beautiful. Absolutely delicious. That one mirch just gave it that little bit of flavour. If I didn't go with the mirch, it probably would have been slightly bland for me. If you don't like chili, leave the mirch out, but that is absolutely delicious. Do try this at home. Do get in touch with us if you've added something different or you've made yours different. Let me know. We're going to our dessert now, which is semia. Traditional semia I'm going to make today. Now, Srinda Kaur from Birmingham has requested I make these. I'm going to make them. I was taught how to make these by my babbi, so I want to say thank you to her because this is a traditional sweet that we like in our families, and some people don't actually know how to make this. It's very simple, it's very easy, but I'm going to add my own little twist to it once they're finished and made. So for semia for one person, we're going to just use two tikya. I call them tikya. Everybody's got a different name for them for one person. We're going to use a glass of cold milk. And I'm going to add to my semia 3 tablespoons of double cream. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fry our semia. This is the key bit when we make semia, the frying. We need to toast them lightly so they're lightly browned on a hot heat, and then that's when we add our milk and our cream. That's where the initial sort of stages of making semia comes to perfection at the end. They have to be toasted. You can't just put the milk in and leave them. You need to toast them. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, we're going to start. So first of all, get your pan on, nice and hot again. On my cooker, I've got kind of different levels of heat on different burners. My middle one obviously gives the hot heat. This one is the second one down. This is one sort of less and more, it's the one in the middle. So we'll heat our pan up and we're going to put in some butter. Now, butter is very important. We need to get them crunchy, almost sort of fried in the butter. So we'll melt our butter, and what we do is we get our semia and we'll put them in. You haven't got to wait till it's completely melted, just go for it. So we just give it a crush and we drop. So you get your semia again and we just literally crush with our hand and just drop. Some pieces big, some pieces small. Put that in, turn up the heat and start toasting. Now this bit, again, hot heat, be careful what you're doing, and we mix and we keep turning. The reason why we keep turning is if we stop turning, chances are your semia are going to get burnt in the butter. As you can see, you got a lovely golden texture appearing now. Some of them will go slightly sort of that's to just show you that they are getting toasted and they're cooking. Just a small amount of butter, you don't need to go crazy with the butter. So we want to toast them. So some of the semia are slightly cooked in golden brown and some of them are white. It gives it that lovely sort of colour. And there you go, you just keep turning, keep it on full heat. Now if you look in the pan, you will see they are going golden brown. ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਥੋੜੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਭੁੰਨ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਆ ਘੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਰਾੜ ਕੇ ਹਲਾਈ ਜਾਣੀਆਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਸੋਹਣੀਆਂ ਭੁੰਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਆ ਜੇ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੇਈਏ ਫਿਰ ਲੂ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪੇ they've gone lovely and brown can you see here you got the brown and you got the white and you can smell the toasting coming away from the pan there you go so you want them looking like this then we turn the cooker down and what we do now is we add our milk ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਪਾ ਲਓ glass ਆਪਣਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਦਾ pour your milk in go with the milk to the edge pour it into the edge don't pour it directly into the middle always go to the edge and make sure your heat is right down if you go for it when it's hot I can tell you it'll be very very dangerous your cooker needs to be on a complete low when you're pouring anything in so you put your milk in like I showed you and your semia should be looking a little bit like this now okay I'm happy with that now we leave these on a slightly warmer heat we just toast them and turn them then we turn and we mix on ਥੋੜਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਨੂੰ ਉਬਾਲਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੇ as you can see ਇਦਾਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਗੈਸ ਕਰਕੇ slow and we're going to put the double cream in double cream ਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਮਝ ਲਓ 2-3 ਚਮਚੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ they get nice and thick and creamy this is what gives it the creamy texture some people don't put double cream in their semia I do because over the years trying out different ways of making them you find your own sort of preference of how you prefer them I like my semia creamy then you put your cream in and you just mix it in with the milk ਫਿਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਰਲਾ ਕੇ so you mix everything up and that's it there it goes ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੇਣਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਰਿੰਕ ਗੁੜ ਪਾਉਣ ਲੱਗੀ ਹਾਂ because I know Surinder ਭੈਣ ਜੀ wanted to try the semia out and I'm going to show you that you can have sugar, you can have brown sugar, you can have syrup, whatever you want to but I'm going to use traditional gur I'm going to put a lump of gur into this semia ek jane jogya and then I'm going to grate some gur at the end and add that as a little bit of a topping we don't want to go crazy with the gur we just want to add it to taste so I'm going to put one little small cube in there just to cook in the milk in the cream just to give it that lovely flavor when we go to taste ਅੱਛਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ 2 ਡਲੀਆਂ ਗੁੜ ਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਉਣੀਆਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਗੁੜ ਆਪਣਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਆ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਦਰ ਇਨ ਲੋ ਨੇ ਲਿਆਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਜਗਪਾਲਪੁਰੋਂ ਫਰੈਸ਼ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਦ ਆ ਇਹਦੀਆਂ 2 ਡਲੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਾ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਾੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਿਲਾ ਕੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੇਣਾ ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਇਹਨੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਕਸ ਹੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ right now we do put the lid on ਢੱਕਣ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਿਓ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ ਘੰਟੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਛੇੜਨੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ so leave the lid on leave it for at least an hour ਬਾਰ ਬਚਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਵੀ ਆਲੂ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਬਣ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਆ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਛੱਡ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਧਰ ਕਿਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੋਰ ਕੰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਈਏ so we're going to keep checking on it ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਰਹਿ ਦਿਓ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਲੋ ਗੈਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਆਪਣਾ ਗੁੜ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਲ ਗਿਆ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਹੁਣ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਆ right ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ now these have been cooking for an hour and slightly cool now at the pan is ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਸੰਘਣੀਆਂ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ some people like them quite sort of milky but my family prefers them creamy ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸੰਘਣੀਆਂ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਫਿਰ ਵੈਸੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਰੱਖੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਹੋਰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ you know ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਹੋਰ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ you can do that okay ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਤਿਆਰ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਇਸ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਗੁੜ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਫਿਨਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਗੁੜ ਆਪਣਾ ਤਾਜ਼ਾ ਆ ਨਿੱਕੀਆਂ ਡਲੀਆਂ ਆ ਨਾ ਗੁੜ ਦੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਲਓ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਨਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਗੁੜ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਲਈਏ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਲਈ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਆ ਵੈਸੇ ਚਾਹ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਸਮਥਿੰਗ ਫਿਰ ਠੀਕ ਆ okay so what we're going to do is we're going to use our sort of grated sugar cane and we just sprinkle that on the top you can use brown sugar you can use white sugar you can use syrup but I'm using gold because I like the traditional taste and I think it has got quite a unique taste to the sugars that we have in this country I'm also going to add this is a strawberry chocolate that I absolutely love I'm going to grate some of this and put this on ਇਹ ਚਾਕਲੇਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਲਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸ਼ੌਕੀਨ ਆ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਚਾਕਲੇਟੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਆ ਆਪਣਾ ਚਾਕਲੇਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਇਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ we've got a sugar cane and we've also got a raspberry chocolate grated on top ਇਹ ਦੋਨੇ ਫਲੇਵਰਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੋਨੇ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਟਰਾਈ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਸੇਮੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਕਿਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਟੇਸਟ ਆ absolutely delicious you got the cream the textures you can still taste the god that you put in initially and that little sort of bit on the end is absolutely delicious and that raspberry chocolate बहुत स्वाद सारियां चीज़ां ना तुसी मिक्स करके जब पाओगे कितना सोहना टेस्ट लगता है तुसी भी ट्राई करो this is absolutely delicious you gotta try this one at home And that's the end of this episode. Hope you enjoyed our starter and main and our dessert to finish up the show. Surinder Kaur Benji, thank you very much for getting in touch with the channel. Tusi enjoy karo sadiyan semiyan. Sanu dasso what you think of the show, what you think of the cook, and if there's anything you want me to cook, like I said before, please get in touch with us. And our email address is kerryskitchen@seekchannel.tv. Thank you very much for watching. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.